here with me, Jen the Taxidermy Witch, and we're talking about fairies more. Reading from this lovely book, Fairycraft by Emily Carding, Weaving Connections with the Enchanted Realm. So, some of the books I take you guys through, I read the whole thing. This book is quite large, and it starts to get me confused with directions and casting circles and all that kind of stuff. Again, I'm not a Wiccan. I'm not a pagan. I'm an eclectic witch. So that's one thing that when I started studying Wicca and paganism started to seem too organized to me. And I know that a lot of you can sympathize and empathize with that possibly. So when I'm going through this book, in the last video I did give you the 7 directions in sacred space because I know that it's important. But it's probably something that I'll try and use in my fairy dollhouse, which is why we're doing this series. I have an outdoor fairy shrine, and now I want to have an indoor fairy shrine, and I'm making this dollhouse into one. So, just talking about tools that you can use, and they say that you can keep these tools inside of your fairy shrine. So, tools, as mentioned, fairycraft does not require expensive tools or garments. It is a path of nature and heart. However, you may find that certain objects wish to work with you as allies. Sometimes they will stay with you for a long time, or perhaps only for a day. We must always remember that things possess spirit, and thus they do not belong to us, and we are all connected as part of a large pattern. Therefore, it is up to the individual to be aware of when it is time to allow such tools to move on, and you can give them back to nature and create a new one, and that's me talking from my voice when I have you eye to eye. So you'll be able to feel when it's time for such tools to move on, either returning into nature from where they passed on, from where they came or passed to their respectful hands. As your awareness and sense of connection strengthens, you will be able to sense when an object wishes to work with you and when it wishes to move on. You will also become more keenly aware that often a simple pebble is far better than any shot bauble and twig, far better than any shiny crystal-clad wand in that glass case. Here are some potential tools that you may wish to incorporate into your practice. Wands and staffs. Now, in the last video, I said I was excited to talk about this topic because I was listening to a woman talk about how your witchy gear can be she was Romani, I think is what they call them. Your witchy staff, the thing that you carry around, your coat that you wear, the boots that you wear. People will start to recognize that as your signature. So, a walking stick or a staff isn't necessarily a magical tool until it becomes part of your signature, part of you. And I really, 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 really like that. And it actually brought me to tears when I was, when this woman was talking about that. And I don't know why. I don't know why sometimes I cry about ridiculous things. But it's happened to me all my life. And I've just found that I need to embrace it. And I thought also that a witch crying would make her really vulnerable. Especially on YouTube. My friend the Holly Witch says that that is the opposite, and that I have certain powers within me that other people just can't tap into. Maybe she did not say those same words, Holly, but that's what I got from what you said to me. So yeah, I take it as a gift rather than a curse. You know, my empathy sometimes crushes me, but it also creates a very magical body fluid ingredient that the fairies love. So, talking about wands and staffs, they can just become your signature and who you are. I have to turn on the fan, excuse me. They can just become your signature and who you are, and that's really, really beautiful because then it becomes a magical tool. then it becomes part of your imprint in this universe. And it helps make you what you are. However, a wand is an extension. A wand acts as a focus for your energy and an extension of your will. Me, I have a wand. I have a really nice wand. I should actually run and get it for you. It won't be but just a moment. Okay, so here's my wand. It's shop bought. I got it right at the beginning of my career. It's got a copper wire on it, and copper is part of my blood type as I'm Rh negative. So when you hold on to this, that copper is attuning through my skin. And I've also anointed this with my own blood. And then this is, I believe, a piece of jade, or jadeite, excuse me. It's a green stone, aventurine maybe? I'm not the stone witch, I don't know. And I keep it in this rack, which I really, really love. And the wood, I'm not even sure what it is, to be honest. I want to know and be more better with woods, but if you guys know what this is, let me know. I think she may have said it was hazel, but I'm not 100% sure. So, I do have a wand, and it stays on that staff. But I've used it like 3 or 4 times. I still put it out in every full moon, and I still, you know, put it out with all my tools. I know why I don't feel connected to it is because I didn't make it, and so I will be fashioning my own wand. And when I do, I'm going to use this book to understand how woods help. So let's talk about that. Also, when you're going to find woods for a wand, you don't want to try too hard. You want it to happen naturally. You do not want to take from a tree, like cut off of a tree to get a wand. Please don't do that. It's not going to work, and you're going to harm the tree. Instead, look for droppings on the ground. When the tree is ready, it will let wood go. And also that wood's ready to be carved. It's dried, it's dead, it's fallen off. If you cut wood from a tree, you then have to take months and months, or a very heavy process to dry it. It's very, very much more natural and very much more magical to take what has been left upon the ground. When I was just in Idaho and I found a giant apple tree right on the border. So I'm going to be doing some border work with this. This is gorgeous. This is apple wood from the border of Viola, Idaho, and Washington. And it is a huge, wicked staff. And at the top, it's just gnarly. Now, it's not tall enough to be an actual staff, so I don't know what I'm going to use it for, because when I stand, it hits here. So I'm not sure. But it is magnificent, and I feel so connected to it. Also, it sits on my dresser on this tiny, tiny knot, and it balances just on that. I know that this was meant to be mine. Maybe I can show you that in the live feed, I don't know, but this piece of wood has brought me so much happiness, and it came right from the border of Washington and Idaho, so I'm going to use that for border work. Moving on, let's now talk out of the book about woods. Alder. The alder has very strong associations with fairy and must be treated with much respect. It is very protective wood and in a very warrior-like way, and would be a good wand for a strong will. Apple, which I just showed you some apple wood. Apple is sacred to the divine feminine, especially to many ancient wisdom goddesses. This tree of Avalon brings visions of the underworld in connection with the healing powers of inner earth. Now we're on to ash. Another warrior tree, ash is seen as possessing qualities of strength, endurance, and protection. Norse culture uses the ash tree. This tree also has a strong association with the masculine energy of the horn god I think his name is pronounced Kronos. Beech. Beech is a powerful gateway tree for seekers in the quest of knowledge and wisdom. It is often associated with ancient British lore and the power of the serpent. Birch. Birch is traditionally associated with the beginnings and rebirth. It is a feminine energy and aids in traveling between the worlds. It is one of several trees associated with protection. Blackthorn. Blackthorn is used for what is known as a blasting rod, a specialized wand with the powers to bless or curse. So to use both hands, yeah? Sorry. I brought in a little bit of hoodoo. To bless or curse. Strongly connected with deep magic and the darker side of fairy. Blackthorn is a powerful choice of wand or staff and is not for the faint-hearted. I need to get me some blackthorn wood. Elder. This tree is connected with the powers of transformation and shape-shifting. It is seen as possessing or often being a feminine spirit capable of changing forms. However, a wand or staff made of elder may not last long. Hawthorne. Deeply rooted in fairy lore, Hawthorne is associated with the spring and marriage rites. Its energy is not wholly dissimilar to its sister tree, blackthorn, only more connected with spirits and gods of fire and light than the darkness. Hazel, which I think this is, a popular choice of wands, also water dowsing rods. Hazel is said to bring the gifts of eloquence and the power of divination. Deeply associated with folklore, ancient wisdom, it is one of several trees seen as being particularly potent gateways to fairy when growing in a pair. Holly. Holly has a fiery and passionate energy that, when well managed, can be an excellent choice as a wand or staff to aid with energy building and as a focus of magical work. Oak. As one of the most revered and sacred trees in many culture, oak is a sturdy choice for a wand or staff. Connected to the Green Man, Horn God, and Dragada of Irish lore, oak is known for its magical qualities of protection, particularly against fire or lightning. Rowan. Rowan is said to protect against negative influence, so it would be a good choice if you do a lot of clearing energy in troubled areas. It is connected to many solar and fire deities, as well as having a strong ties with the fairy. Willow. My husband and I have been seeing willows everywhere, and we're just like so drawn to them. The whole trip over to Idaho, we're like, willow, 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 and they're huge. I mean, they must be 200 years old, how big these trees are, and it's just magnificent. Willow is a traditional choice of wands, being a good balance of light and dark and having magical, mystical qualities. Connected to the moon and the element of water, willow enables communication with spirits and also having powers of healing. Y-E-W. With its associations with death, war, and poison, yew may not be everyone's first choice as a companion tool. However, if you are willing to walk a deeper path and connect to the inner drumbeat of the earth, yew has the power to bring the deep transformations needed. Then it goes on to talk about swords and daggers. I cut myself. I totally got a paper cut. That sucks. And pebbles. What time are we at? 14 minutes. Yeah, maybe for another video. I guess I could talk about stones and swords and daggers really quickly. Those who are used to working in ceremonial magic groups may wish to use a sword or a dagger in their work. However, it must be remembered that it is offensive to most fairy beings to use iron in your work. Do you hear me? Iron is also cast iron, so like your cauldron. I think I have a piece of cast iron under my bed. So far under there I can't reach it, but iron under your bed helps with menstruation cramps and things like that. I don't know if you guys knew that. And you know the lid of your cauldron? You can actually, like, you can just put that on your belly. That helps with my cramps so much. But anyway, talking about fairies, they're not a fan of iron. So a good alternative is bronze, silver, or even wood. In most cases, the sword or dagger performs much of the same functions as a wand. So, with the Fae, you use a wand in place of your sword or dagger, or like a wooden dagger, which, do I have my wooden dagger in here? I just rearranged the studio. I'm like, where is everything? Okay, so let's see. So you can use the wand for all the same things. You would just point it down in the shape of however you would use your dagger. You could use your wand for fairy work. You need to build a trusting connection with the fairy, and they may be easily scared off by a knife or a dagger or a sword. So just keep those out of your fairy workings. Keep them in a separate part of your studio. You know, your fairy stuff's over here, your daggers are over there. I don't know. Keep them in a box too, because I feel like the Fae might be out in the room a little bit, and you don't want to scare them. And you want to build that good relationship so that they can trust you. Alright, that's it. We'll come back and we'll talk about stones and pebbles and crystals and chalices and bowls and drums and musical instruments and glass bottles and offering dishes and earth and censer and candles. And there is a really cool exercise on how to be rid of your negative thoughts, and also a spell to aid in healing. And then there's a really cool apple seed spell in here, I think, which is why I got this apple out. So if you have an apple that's out in nature that you can pick, and it doesn't have to be perfect, you don't have to eat it, it's not for eating, go get one. And come back and join me, Jen, Taxidermy Witch, and we'll go over this apple seed exercise. Alright? Have a beautiful day.